Hello, so my name is Blanca and today I will be demonstrating on how to perform 4 projections of the school. But before even getting our patient, we want to make sure that our room is ready and set up to go. So right over here, I will be tenting my tube to the wall bucket since that's what we're using today. Then I'm just going to angle my tube to a 90-degree angle and making sure that I'm at the distance. My SID is a 40-inch distance. So once I have that there, today also we're going to be using a 10x12 cassette, and it's going to be in a crosswise orientation since I'm starting off with my lateral projection. So I'm just going to place that in here. Alright, so once I have my room set up, then I'm ready to go get my patient. So my name is Blanca, and I'll be doing the exam for you today.
Okay.
Can I have your full name, please?
Sure, Dylan Morales.
Date of birth?
8/20/62.
Okay. And what brings you here today?
I fell like 2 days ago, and my head's been hurting a little bit, so the doctor just asked for some x-rays.
Okay, good. Have you had any surgeries?
No.
Is there any possibility you might be pregnant?
No.
Okay, and then do you have any earrings on?
No.
Any cut dentures,
No.
anything like that? All right.
No.
Since we're taking images of the skull, I don't want anything to obscure the image.
Yeah, no. I don't.
Let me go ahead and provide you with a gown. Okay. This is to protect you as a shield. You just wrap that around. You need help putting that on, or you got it? So since we're starting off with the left projection, it's a lateral projection, it's going to be a left lateral projection. So she's going to be on her left side. Go ahead and have a seat. And then we're just going to oblique her into an LAO position. You're going to be facing forward. Okay. As far as her center ray, it's 2 inches superior to the EAM. Make sure you go a little forward. Alright, making sure we're 2 inches. And then just aligning my tube. I'm going to put this on the Morales, actually down, I'm sorry. Alright, so once I'm aligned, I'm just going to go ahead and adjust my positioning. To get through. And for this, making sure that we adjust our head so our mid-sagittal plane is parallel to the plane of the IR. And then we're just going to flex our head, that way the IOML is perpendicular to the front edge of the IR. Alright. And then the last final adjustment is just that our interpupillary line is perpendicular to the IR, which is the line that goes across. Alright, so once we have that there, then I just could go ahead and collimate in top to bottom since we have some light there. And then side to side. But then make sure that you don't clip the spool or anything like that, since that's the area we need. Left marker. Alright. So Ms. Morales, if you could just go ahead and stay there, follow my breathing instructions, take a deep breath in and hold your breath, don't breathe, beep, x-ray, you can relax, you can breathe now. Alright, and for this projection, it was 85 kVp, and our mass could be between 6 to 8 mass. Now I'm just going to pick up my IR, go right and continue with the next projection. So our next projection, it's a PA axial projection, and it's known as the Caldwell method. And for this projection, just keep in mind you're going to be placing, again, it's a 10x12 IR, but in this situation, it's going to be lengthwise. I'm just going to go ahead and place this here. Another thing is, I'm going to ask Ms. Morales to face the board. So Ms. Morales, you're going to turn around, be facing the board, but let me go ahead and just change your shield really quick.
Okay.
That would protect you. But this one is gonna go in.
Okay.
Alright, you can tie that around there. Go ahead and grab a seat. You're gonna be facing forward, put your chin forward. And our center rate for this, it's a 15-degree caudal exiting at the nasion, I'm sorry. And so I'm gonna go ahead and add my 15-degree angle. Exiting at the nasion, you just want to make sure also that your OML is perpendicular to the plane of the IR, which is and another thing is to check that your mid-sagittal plane is perpendicular to the IR. Collimate a little bit, and then placing my left marker, and just the final thing, making sure you're aligned because we don't want to miss anything, any structure. All right, once we're good there, Ms. Morales, if you could just go ahead and hold your breath. Beep, X-ray. Now, you can relax. And our technique was 85 kVp in a range of 14 to 16 mass. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my IR and run it and continue with my next projection. Okay, so for the next projection, it's going to be an AP axial projection, and it's known as the TAL method. So since it's an AP axial, I have moved my patient. Now they're facing forward towards C2. Also, I have moved around the shield, so now it's in front of them. That way you can protect their area. It's a 10 by 12 IR lengthwise. And for this projection, our center ray is a 30-degree caudal to the OML, entering 2.5 inches above the glabella, passing through the EAM. In her situation, are you able to flex this one or this? Flex down your chin a little bit? Since she's able to flex it up, I'm just going to stick to the 30-degree caudal to the OML, how I mentioned. If not, if the patient is having difficulty, then you could have them flex down their chin to a 37-degree caudal, but it will be at the IOML. So we're going to do 30 OML, caudal. Close your eyes. So since it's 2 inches above the above the glabella, I'm just gonna position her here. Go ahead and drop your chin, Ms. Morales. And another thing to keep in mind is making sure that your mid-sagittal plane is perpendicular to the midline of the IR. And then another thing, that our OML is perpendicular to the plane of the IR. So there's no rotation. And then as far as, since our EMA passes, since the center ray has to pass through the EAM, just making sure that it does. Sure I'm aligned. That's another important thing. We'll drop it down. Just down with me. Alright, we're aligned. Try not to move, okay? Alright. Placing my right marker. So Ms. Morales, stay still. Hold your breath. Beep, X-ray, you can breathe now. And as for technique-wise, it was 85 kbp, 14 to 16 mass. Take my IR, go run it, and then continue with the next final projection. Okay, so for our last final projection, it's called the SMB projection, known as the Schooler method. And for this one, it's a 10 by 12 IR. It's a lengthwise orientation. So there's that here. And for this projection, I'm gonna have Ms. Morales she's gonna actually lean her chin back. She's still just flexing her chin as much as she can. And for this, our center ray will be perpendicular to the IOML, entering the mid-sagittal plane of throat between the angles of the mandible, anterior to the left, and 3/4 anterior to the level of the EAM. So it's pretty much just kind of going through the throat and making sure it's 3/4 anterior to the level of the EAM. So once we have that there, just final adjustments, making sure that your IOML is parallel as possible to the IR. And your mid-sagittal plane perpendicular to the IR. Collimate in a little, cone in. Should not to move, right? Right marker, since she's in an 8-feet position. Alright, so once we have that there, last final thing, making sure we're aligned. So just follow my breathing instructions. Hold your breath. Beep, X-ray, you can breathe now, you can relax. And as far as our technique-wise, it was 85 kbp and a range of 28 to 32 mass. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my IR, and this concludes our school trigger.
So now for the evaluation criteria for the school, I'm going to be starting off with evaluating the left lateral projection. And the evaluation criteria for this projection consists of evidence of proper collimation seen within the image. Also, the entire cranium without rotation or tilt. So just making sure that we have the entire cranium in profile. So the skull. And that can be demonstrated by superimposed orbital roofs, and those are right over here. So just making sure they're superimposed. Also, the superimposed mastoid regions and EAM, which is this area down here. And another thing is superimposed TMJs, which could be seen down here. And the sella turcica in profile, which is up here. Another thing, it's no overlap of cervical spine by mandible. And that's the area right here. Just making sure that there's no, the cervical spine and the mandible are not superimposed. So for a second image that we're evaluating, it's the PA axial projection known as the Caldwell method. And for this image, the evaluation criteria consists, again, evidence of proper collimation. Also, the entire cranium without rotation or tilt, and that is demonstrated by the symmetric the Petrus Regis. So the Peters ridges are down here by the orbit. So just making sure that they are symmetrical. Also, another thing is the mid-sagittal plane of cranium aligned with long axis of collimated field. So just mid-sagittal plane, which is coming down. Making sure that it's aligned with the long axis of the collimated field. And another thing is the Peters ridges for this image, they have to be demonstrated lying in the lower third of the orbit, which can be seen here. Another thing is the entire cranial perimeter showing 3 distinct tables of squamous bone, and finally penetration of frontal bone with the proximate brightness at lateral borders of skull. So we could see our frontal bone here, and back here is our parietal bone. But most important, when we're looking at the frontal area, right here. Then here we have our cristagalli, which is right here. Most important is making sure that there's no rotation within it, and the Peters ridges, which that's a main component of the Caldwell image down below by the orbits. So for our third image is the AP axial projection, known as the Town method. So for this projection, the evaluation criteria consist of evidence of proper collimation, also that the entire cranium is in profile, which we could see here in the entire cranium, without rotation or tilt, and that can be demonstrated by equal distances from lateral borders of skull to lateral margins of foramen magnum on both sides. So you could see the lateral sides of the cranium, and then right in the center we have our foramen magnum. Another thing is having the Peters ridges symmetrical, which we could see our Peters ridges here on the sides. And another thing for the evaluation criteria is making sure that the dorsum sella and posterior clinoid process is visible within foramen magnum. So our clinoid processes can be visible, and they could be seen here, as far as our dorsum sella is seen inside this area here inside the foramen magnum. And finally, penetration of occipital bone with appropriate brightness at lateral borders of skull. So for the Town method, we are looking at the occipital bone. So it's this, we could see it here, which is this portion. So for our final projection is the SMV projection, known as the Schuyler method. And for this projection, the evaluation criteria consist of evidence of proper collimation, also the entire cranium without tilt, and that can be demonstrated by equal distances from the lateral borders of the skull to the mandibular condyles on both sides. So just taking a look at these are our mandibular condyles, making sure that they are equal distant. Another thing is symmetric petrosa, and that can be seen down here. So having a symmetric petrosa. Another thing is the IOML is parallel to the IR, meaning that if it is parallel to the IR, we had a full neck extension, and that can be demonstrated by the mental protuberance superimposed over anterior frontal bone. Also, the mandibular condyles anterior to the petrosa. So, making sure if our mandibular condyles are right here, or petrosa is back here. So, just making sure that the mandibular condyles are anterior to the petrosa. Another thing is finally just brightness and contrast sufficient to demonstrate the cranial base anatomy. So on our image, we could see right here our ethmoidal air cells. Also, we could see our maxillary sinus. Down here below, we could see sphenoidal sinus. We could even see our dens. And then right over here, this is our occipital bone. Down below. And then the mastoid process is down here. So if we're able to see those structures, that means we had the proper brightness and contrast used in the image. And that concludes our evaluation for our four projections of the school.